Most people believe that farming begins with land. Big land, wide open land, expensive land. They imagine thousands of acres stretching to the horizon, giant tractors rumbling like thunder, and barns standing like castles. They believe farming is only for the rich, the old, or those born into a legacy. But the truth is shockingly different. Farming does not begin with acres. It begins with understanding. It begins with vision. It begins with the courage to start small when others expect you to start big. Because here is the unavoidable reality. Most beginner farmers don't fail because they don't have enough land. They fail because they don't understand how much land they actually need. They fail because they buy too big, too fast, too blindly. They think more acres means more success, more crops, more animals, more income. But in agriculture, growth is not measured in acres. Growth is measured in management. Success is measured in how efficiently you can use the land you have. And failure? Failure grows fastest on land that you cannot handle. So before you dream of owning 100 acres, before you imagine giant fields of corn waving like oceans, before you think your farm must look like the farms in movies, take a breath. Ask the real question, not how big should my farm be, but how much land can I manage, afford, and grow successfully without drowning in debt and mistakes? Because the secret is powerful. You can start a profitable farm on 1 acre. You can build a sustainable homestead on half an acre. You can start a micro farm on a backyard. You can grow more food than you think on land smaller than a football field. And if you understand how to calculate your needs, choose your production model, and evaluate your goals, you will discover something life-changing. You don't need a massive farm to start farming. You just need the right land for the right purpose at the right scale. This is the truth no one tells beginners. Land size matters far less than land understanding, because the right acre can feed a family. The right 2 acres can feed a community. The right 5 acres can build a business. And the right 10 acres can create a legacy. So let's break the myths, cut through the confusion, and uncover the real answer to the question every new American farmer asks. How much land do you truly need to start a small farm in the USA? The answer will surprise you, and it might just save your money, your time, and your dream. Starting a small farm in the United States begins with a single decision, determining how much land you actually need. For many beginners, this is the most confusing step because the concept of enough land changes dramatically depending on your goals, budget, location, farming method, and long-term plans. The United States has more than 895 million acres of farmland, but surprisingly, most new farmers do not start on large tracts of land. They begin with modest, manageable plots that allow them to learn without overwhelming themselves. Understanding land requirements is not just about size. It's about efficiency, productivity, and long-term viability. When people imagine farming, they often picture vast Midwestern fields stretching endlessly with row crops like corn, soybeans, or wheat. But this model applies to commercial agriculture, not small farming. Small farms in the United States typically operate between half an acre and 50 acres, depending on what they produce. The USDA even classifies many small farms as operations with less than $350,000 in annual agricultural sales, and a surprising portion of these farms operate on minimal acreage. Before calculating how much land you need, you must define your purpose clearly. Every farm begins with a why. Why do you want to farm? Is it to grow vegetables for your family, start a small commercial operation, raise animals, build a homestead, sell at farmers markets, launch a microgreens business? The purpose defines the land requirement. For example, a person who wants a peaceful rural lifestyle with a garden will need far less land than someone who dreams of raising cattle, running a fruit orchard, or producing large-scale vegetables. When your goals are clear, your land needs become clear. The reason most beginners struggle is because they buy land first and figure out the plan later. This leads to wasted space, unnecessary expense, and overwhelming work. For a vegetable farm, especially one using intensive methods like raised beds, vertical growing, or market garden designs, you can grow thousands of pounds of produce on just 1 acre. Many of the most profitable small farms in the U.S. operate on 1 to 5 acres. Techniques like no-till growing, soil building, composting, and drip irrigation make small-scale vegetable farming incredibly efficient.
If your goal is to grow vegetables for profit, 1 acre is more than enough to start. You can begin with as little as 5,000 square feet, about the size of a small backyard, and still grow meaningful quantities of food. This is why urban farming is becoming so popular in cities like Detroit, Seattle, and Los Angeles. People have discovered that you don't need a large rural property to begin a farming journey. If your goal is homesteading, producing your own eggs, vegetables, small livestock feed, herbs, and possibly dairy, you will need between 1 and 5 acres. A typical homestead includes a mix of gardens, small animals like chickens or goats, a water source, compost areas, and storage space. Many American homesteaders choose 2 to 3 acres because it provides a comfortable balance between self-sufficiency and manageability. On 2 acres, you can keep 10 to 20 chickens, raise a few goats, cultivate a large vegetable garden, and still have space for fruit trees. With modern methods like permaculture, food forests, and rotational grazing, the productivity of small acreage increases even more. The idea is not to own land, it's to use it wisely. When it comes to raising animals, land requirements change significantly. Chickens require surprisingly little land. 20 chickens can thrive on even 1/10 of an acre if rotated properly. Goats need more room, but still far less than cattle. Sheep and goats can be managed on 1 to 3 acres if you use rotational grazing to keep the land healthy. Pigs need a little more space, but a pair of pigs can be raised successfully on half an acre with proper management. The real challenge comes with cattle. Cows require substantial grazing space, water access, fencing, and pasture management. In most parts of the United States, you need 1.5 to 2 acres per cow for proper grazing without damaging the land. In drier regions like parts of Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico, you may need 5 to 10 acres per cow because grass does not regenerate as quickly. For beginners, raising cattle on large acreage is rarely the best first step because of cost, complexity, and land demands. Another important factor is affordability. Land in the United States varies dramatically in price. Some regions in the Midwest offer land at $3,000 to $6,000 per acre, while areas near cities or coastal states can cost $30,000 to $100,000 or more per acre. Many beginners make the mistake of stretching their budget too far to buy large land in expensive states. But farmland does not need to be expensive to be productive. Some of the most profitable farms in the U.S. operate on affordable rural land far from major cities. The goal should be to buy land you can comfortably afford, not land that impresses others. Soil quality also plays a massive role. 1 acre of fertile soil is better than 10 acres of poor soil. Beginners often underestimate how dramatically soil affects productivity. Good soil grows more food, requires less fertilizer, and supports healthier plants. Poor soil demands constant amendments, heavy labor, and more money. Before buying land, soil testing is essential. Checking organic matter, drainage, pH levels, and nutrient content can save you from costly mistakes. Water is equally important. A small farm with strong water access can outperform a large farm with poor water availability. Drip irrigation, wells, ponds, and rainwater systems make small acreage efficient. You cannot farm successfully without reliable water. Many beginners buy land without confirming water rights, well performance, or irrigation potential, leading to frustration and financial strain. Once you understand goals, animals, crops, soil, and water, the next factor is labor. How much physical work can you manage? Farming is rewarding but demanding. Even 2 acres of intensive vegetable farming can require labor equal to a full-time job. 10 acres of unfocused, unplanned land can overwhelm you. For most beginners, the challenge is not managing too little land, it's managing too much. The most successful small farmers in America started with what they could handle, not what they fantasized about. Another consideration is scaling. You don't need to buy all the land you ever want on day one. Start small, learn, make mistakes, build confidence, then expand. The scaling approach keeps your finances safe and reduces stress. Many new farmers first purchase 1 to 3 acres, test their crops or livestock, and expand to larger land later. And finally, know this: farming is not about land. It's about systems. It's about planning, rotating, soil building, water management, and consistent effort. A well-designed 1-acre farm can outperform a poorly managed 10-acre farm. Efficiency beats size. Knowledge beats acreage. So the final answer is simple. You can start a small farm in the USA with far less land than you think. In fact, most beginners should start smaller than their dreams, not because dreams should shrink, but because success grows faster on manageable land. Start with half an acre, 1 acre, 2 acres, whatever fits your goals in life. The land does not determine your success. Your methods, mindset, and management do.